Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens with your host, Jake and Scott. We are now right square in the middle of Bourbon Heritage Month, and we're going to be talking about a limited edition bourbon that Scott doesn't really understand why they do that. So sit back and buckle in to the latest episode of the Bourbon Lens. Scott, we are here, middle of Bourbon Heritage Month. We are in week 3. There's 5 weeks in this month because September has to be long for God knows what reason, other than we're going to celebrate bourbon more and more and more. So in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about Four Roses limited edition small batch. And you said something in the pre-show that I used as a tease, but I think you really understand that everybody's got to have a limited edition, right?
Yeah, I mean, every year, whenever this press release comes out, I just like, well, what are they going to do different this year? And, you know, it's like, you got to dig for it because it's not always clear. I mean, yes, there is 10 recipes and hundreds of different ages, but it's really just Brent doing what Brent wants to do. And I think that that's admirable, obviously. I also think that like bourbon consumers, at least over the past 6-8 months, seemingly just want more and more and more different stuff. Like we had a conversation on Instagram. It was like something was a boring release. And I was like, well, what's boring about it? What do you want? Like, what would you prefer this release to be? And then the answer never comes out, but it's always, you know, cast strength this and 20-year-old this and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with the consumer is, you know, you can only push so far, right? There's only so much experimentation that's happened for so long. And, you know, scour the trolls of all the different social medias. And, you know, there tends to be one big thing is that Four Roses is an underrated bourbon producer, right? That's what everyone says. Four Roses, underrated bourbon producer. And you know why they are considered an underrated bourbon producer, but bourbon enthusiasts like them? Because of their single barrel program, which is nerdy, beyond nerdy, beyond nerdy. And shout out to Steve Berman, Bourbon's Bourbon, who is the biggest of the fangirls of Four Roses single barrels. And that's not a bad thing. We love Steve and his arms that are bigger than his head. But, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like that's why the bourbon enthusiast likes them, is because they put out barrel proof, really nerdy, 10 recipes bourbon that people want to stack this up. And like that was part of the early bourbon craze before everyone got on the Buffalo Trace bandwagon. It was Four Roses single barrels. I feel like was one of the other precipices that kicked this whole bourbon boom thing off.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, it was hard to even find a single barrel of Four Roses. You know, they would put out 150 bottles of a pick and it'd be gone in no time. And shelves, they had special releases just for that, and you could never find it just sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, who's the guy? There's a guy in Mississippi that partners with Dixon to pick barrels. I think his name's Jamie.
Yeah, the package store they have down there. I can't think of the name of it either.
Yeah, but they were really famous for picking Four Roses single barrels and doing some great things. And then you had some of the crazy ones like Bourbon Brotherhood put out a 19-year-old, you know, pick and to raise money for charity. And I think there was a lot of admirable things that happened because you didn't realize how old of stock Four Roses actually had. In the recent press preview of the Four Roses limited edition small batch, Brent talked about how much aged stock they do have and that they're transporting some of those aged stocks into totes because they don't want it to overage, that once it gets to a certain precipice, it overpeaks. So they want to have those blending components, 20, 23, 24 years old, but they don't want them to go too far over and then to dive off a cliff, because that's what would happen.
So that's interesting because I obviously didn't hear that from Brent. You obviously were in on that conversation, but most other distilleries would come up with a different product and just put it out. You know, it's like Heaven Hill would just put out a new product. Jim Beam would just make a variation on Knob Creek and put it out as an older stock. But Four Roses never seems to do that. You know, they've got their small batch and then there was small batch select, you know. They got their old school yellow label or beige label now, but
Four Roses bourbon, as they call it.
Yeah. But then they do their annual releases of limited edition small batch. So it's like, maybe that's what I was trying to get to, like before we hit record. They just don't put out a new product. They're just like, we've got our single barrels, we got our small batch, we got our small batch select, and then once a year we're going to put out a limited edition small batch that's going to include some really premium, high aged components of some different mash bills. So that's an interesting thing to hear, that they're putting those totes away to make sure that they're not over oaking.
Yeah. No, I think it's very interesting to hear that, and it shows you how much aged whiskey they do have. I mean, he mentioned that some of the times when it just would just go over, it would end up in Four Roses bourbon.
Yeah,
That's
just to make it,
crazy.
yeah, just to make a younger whiskey have some elder characteristics.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I remember early on in my bourbon hunting days, before I had a price conscious wallet, that I would look at these and try to get this bottle every year. I have the 19, 20, 21, and 22. And then I grew up and realized that I have two children now and I need to save money. So I can't spend it all on bourbon. So, these releases I think are sought after. I think they are really well received from a marketplace perspective. I think they do have a lot of characteristics to them. And they tend to be, not super proofy, even though they're limited edition small batch barrel strength select, right? They're typically under 120 proof, but they do consist of older age stock. This one is 4 recipes. Recipe 1 is OBSV 13-year-old. Recipe 2 is OBSK 13 years old. Recipe 6 is what they say on this thing, OESV 13 years old, and then recipe 6, OESV 19 years old. So I guess they've coded each of the recipes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So that's okay. Yeah. So
That's
at
news
night,
to me. Never seen that before. And this comes in at 109 proof. So shout out to the Brand Guild for sending us a sample and let us, talk to Brent prior to the release of this bourbon. It's sad that it's taking us this long to get to it, but I think this bourbon always brings a lot. And I think there's one thing that I will say about this bourbon, that there is nobody who's either hot, either you're super hot or you're super cold on it. There's no in between. There's no lukewarm people when it comes to Four Roses limited edition small batch, much like the bourbon you were talking about earlier, which was birthday bourbon. Either you're hot or you're cold on it. I feel like this is another release that is like that because it is traditional bourbon. They do some little gimmicky things with it here and there, whether it's age statement, high proof, low proof, sweet mash, sour mash, whatever, but it's still Old Forester bourbon, right? Same thing here. This is still this is still Four Roses bourbon.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. But we're also at a stage where it doesn't really matter that people are hot or cold on it. Like, there's still enough people that are going to be hot to it that are going to pick it up, and they're not going to pass it up on a shelf.
I mean, it's
This
under
lands on the
20,000
shelf.
bottles or something, like nationwide release.
Yeah.
Gone.
You find it on a shelf, you see it, or you enter a lottery and they draw your name, you're not going to pass it up.
No. Even you wouldn't pass this up.
Because we would share it together, because it'd be
Yes.
like, oh, my buddy Jake's just too poor. He's got too many kids. He can't afford it anymore.
Yep. That's exactly right. I'm glad you understand. I appreciate it. That and, fiscally responsible is what we call that.
Yeah. Just have to skip a couple steak dinners and we'll be able to get one.
Fact. When you go from dink to child 1, it's a step. To child 2, everyone's like, oh, it's no big deal. Diapers have not gotten cheaper, guys. As
Yeah.
Scotch Boss would say, but there are still diapers. It's one of my favorite things as he eats a Costco hot dog or a chicken pocket as he reviews the bourbon. He's like, I didn't buy these because of diapers.
Yeah.
But you're out of the diaper phase. You don't know anything about this. You're just you're into the my son grows every 6 minutes phase.
He's got a new pair of shoes every month because the last ones are too small. Yeah, I mean, that's like Lucas just went out the door this morning to kindergarten, mind you, in some Giannis shoes. And I'm like, where the hell these come from?
Courtney?
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, you got the coolest looking shoes in kindergarten right now. So at least they'll last a day or two. And then he goes and, plays in recess, and we'll see how they look after that. So
yeah, we got some Steph Currys for Jameson to play basketball in, and He wore them for the first couple days. But Kohl's, mind you, like I used to hate on Kohl's. Kohl's for children is a gold mine. Steph Curry's shoes were originally like $70. They were on sale for $49.99. That is
Oh
a
yeah,
win at this age. They are bright orange. They're fun. I like it. My son's school colors are terrible. They are like orange, green, like
green
lime
and
green
purple.
and purple.
Yeah,
Yes, they are the dragons,
the friendly
the
dragons.
friendly dragons. Yes, and the dragon's name is, my name's Jeff,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But, we have sidetracked enough. It is time to talk about Four Roses, limited edition, small batch, barrel strength 2025 bourbon. So it's in your glass, it's in my glass. What are your initial impressions?
On the nose, I get one of those notes that I really, really like, and it's cigar box. Like, it's just like I open my humidor, get a little bit of that tobacco, the cedar, the woodiness. It's like a perfumey note. So, I mean, I've tasted a little bit of a sample, like just a little bit to touch the lips, but on the nose, I think it's super inviting.
I definitely get that. I definitely get that humidor, like earthy vegetal note. That's cigar wrapper. But there's also like grape in there, like grape leaf, so it's like subtle. There's a subtle sweetness. But for 109 proof, it's got some astringency. But I think it's also the tannins in that, right? Like you could talk me into this a lot of different ways.
It's almost like blackberry pie.
It's also interesting. My left nostril is not nearly as good as my right nostril.
They say you can get different notes depending on the nostril you go for, but maybe
Well,
I'd always just lean my head to the same direction. I'm like, that's where they're picking that up.
yeah, I mean, this is,
It makes me want to dive in, I'll tell you that.
it's like grandpa's pipe.
Ooh, that's nice.
Big tobacco notes. I love the approachable proof. Again, if you've heard it once here on the Bourbon Lens, you've heard it 5,000 times.
Probably sick of hearing us say that.
Yeah. We don't need 1,000 proof bourbon. Will we drink it? Yes. Will we enjoy it? Probably. Do we want to drink it every day? Nope. Case in point, see the last episode, Bottled and Bond bourbons.
True.
But this is a enjoyable sip. It's sad I didn't save any for a blind side by side. But whatever. When in Rome,
We're going to need another batch.
do as the Romans do and drink. The best thing in the middle of this podcast, I'm not having to go to chase down the FedEx man and be out of breath. So that is a positive here.
Yeah. So that is super desserty.
It's rich, is what I would say.
Yeah. It's like almost like after dinner, I want like a bite of like something sweet, like just to kind of cap off the night. That would be this.
Mm.
But it has a nice amount of oak. Like it has a nice,
Yeah.
it's still going.
There's some fruit in there too. It's dark, rich apricot, maybe even some like apple brandy type notes. Definitely in the stewed category is what I would say. This is a stewed food, stewed fruits. And so it's been cooked down in a stock pot and you're just enjoying it right before it goes into mom's whatever pie she's baking. Maybe a little blackberry cobbler.
It's like concentrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
There's
I
some
think I'm on
confectionery notes.
I'm on the side of the fence of I like it.
I mean, I think that's a good place to be. I don't think it's a bad place to be one iota.
So what are some of the complaints that you might have heard about this? People didn't get it at 130 proof.
I mean, I think the complaints you will hear is, where's the proof? Why isn't it older if you're tanking stocks? Where's some of the 20-year? Why isn't my favorite batch in there?
Why did you put in 2 OASVs?
Yeah, why didn't you put more recipes in there?
I love it. Like people act like these distilleries give a shit about your singular opinion, one person's opinion. No, it's literally trying to appeal to a mass audience. Every release should, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we're trying to paint a broad brushstroke here. Capture a lot of people. Capture people that don't necessarily want a lot of proof, but they still want barrel proof. or barrel strength. Like that's what this is. It's barrel strength at 109. It's just a lower proof.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, like you said earlier. If this is in front of you, you're not going to shit on it. If you were talking to Brent, you would love it. And it's okay to like bourbon at different proof points. It's okay to be okay with what they put out. It doesn't have to be extra. Like that's the thing. We talk about the extra all the time. Sometimes can we just enjoy the fact that people produce bourbon and it's really enjoyable and just enjoy what they put out? Don't ask for more.
Yeah. I get maybe we're just hearing it a lot lately, but
Well,
I
and
don't know.
I think there's been some voices in the marketplace that are just loud, and that's okay. That's okay. It truly is okay. But as an objective person who's done the tater thing, who has kind of come back to, more middle ground, my opinion matters to my influence, and that's it. I don't need to be like, oh, this is the shittiest bourbon or crap on something that I think is enjoyable. I think this is enjoyable. If you crap on it, that's on you. Jake Llewellyn from Bourbon Lens finds this enjoyable. That's like, I'm not going to tell you to go buy it. This is your hard-earned money, around $200, I guess. I don't, $159.99 is what it normally is. It's on you.
Mm.
But I would enjoy this at $160 with 19-year-old bourbon in there. Sign me up. I'd buy it. I'd buy a bottle for 160 if that's what it is.
I think it's a little bit more this year, but I mean, maybe it's just like the non-influencer mentality that I like to enjoy. People might call us influencers, whatever, but
We're
I
media
don't want to
members is
just
the way I think of it.
I just don't want to shit on something like because it's not exactly what I want. Is it a good whiskey? Is it a great whiskey? Is it a bad whiskey? Like, sure, if it's a bad whiskey and it tastes bad and I just don't enjoy it, I'll tell you, but if it's not like the proof point that I'm looking for or not quite as old as I think that they should put in a bottle, I don't get that.
I'm in. I'm right there with you. And I think here's the other thing I'll add to this. It sounds like we're gripey old women right now, and we're not. I think what we're trying to tell you is enjoy the whiskey in your glass, because that's the glass that you're sharing with somebody, or someone got, or you went and got that with your hard-earned money. Like, enjoy it. Like, you don't have to care what I say, what Scott says. The other thing is, like, I will also tell you is, if I were to rate this, which ratings are arbitrary, like, does this meet the limited LTO category, like stratosphere for cost? I think it does. I think it puts you in that B plus A tier, somewhere in there. Is it the best whiskey I've ever had? No. But is it like in the, people do those like on YouTube, all like the tier charts, like S, A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah.
This is like teeters between an A and a B, like high B, low A. Like, and I think that deserves a limited edition to me.
Well, and I think that that's maybe the value of like Four Roses and their approach. It's like, look, we're going to keep doing the single barrels, which you're going to have some hits, you're going to have some misses, but let us show you what we can do as a blender, not on the mass scale. So like small batch, I think it includes like 3 or 4 recipes. Small batch limited edition includes like 4 or 5 recipes. Like, but like,
yeah, like small batch select is 2 recipes. Small batch is all 10, right? So like we pare it down, right? We go from everything's in Four Roses bourbon, young, old, whatever. Small batch is really kind of a whiskey between 4 and 8 years. And then small batch select is 2 recipes. And then small batch limited edition is going to be a small batch of recipes and age stated.
Yeah. And we're going to find exactly
the best of the
what
best
we're looking for. Yeah. So, I mean, it's let us show you what we can blend with older stocks, knowing that small batches, the small batch at 45 or 35 or whatever dollars it is, it's not going to include 13 and 20 year whiskey.
No, but it's going to be an enjoyable pour.
Yeah. So it's like knowing that that's not going to be the case. It's like, well, let me show you what I can do with my older stocks, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 years.
but doesn't this like reek of Japanese influence?
Hmm.
And that's okay, right? Like, we got to think about who owns Four Roses. Kirin Ichiban. Like, Kirin owns this. What are they known for? What are Japanese known for? Artistry. What is Brent producing? Art to them.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all have, like, we think of bourbon being the native spirit of America, and yes, it is, but it has so many influences, whether it's Pernod Ricard or Kirin or whomever else, Campari, right? We've got world people on the stage influencing what these mass producers do. And I think Kieran says, hey, you know what? This is a little bit about who we are too. We are about art and creating an experience and creating an enjoyable blend of all types of bourbon and whiskey. Four Roses Small Batch Limited Edition.
Interesting.
I don't know. This is a
That's a
creative
good point. I always forget that Four Roses is still owned by a Japanese company, but that the Japanese market is the one that's the reason we have Four Roses Distillery right now. Without that market, you wouldn't have Four Roses.
Yeah, I mean the Four Roses Supreme.
Yeah,
that kept everything afloat.
What does Kirin have a Japanese whiskey in their portfolio?
I don't know if they do,
because I know they've got like Kirin, like the beer, right?
They do.
Now I got to do some searching.
But like, I feel like it's about artistry, right?
Well, I think it's like the Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's the aesthetic, it's the art, it's the look and the feel, like bringing more than just here is your whiskey.
I like Four Roses. Obviously, I got turned on to Four Roses thanks to Marcus Neiman, right? Shout out to Marcus, who's now at Michter's. But I got to try a lot of really good stuff with him, and we have because of that. And that still to this day, that might be one of the most fun podcasts we did, going into their whiskey library and trying to Hell Young. Come on now. Like, they've put out some exceptional whiskey, bourbons, and the blends, I think, are more well-rounded and more beautiful than any of the single barrels are. I think they just do a really good job blending. And you know what? That's a dirty term in America. It's not for them.
Interesting. Yeah, so I had to look it up. There apparently is a Kirin Fuji single malt from from the.
There we go. Oh, all in all, we went a lot longer on this because we got passionate about this. Well, I did. I don't know about you, but this is about as passionate as you're going to see me about whiskey. Again, if you had this bottle in front of me, I'd call my wife and I'd ask, can I buy it? She probably would say no, but I'd probably try to find a way to buy it anyway. The overall experience, I think they hit it. You know, this is a solid double. Is it a home run? I don't know about that, but it's a power hitter. Got you an RBI. We're in the middle of baseball season here. I think it's a power player right now. It's one of the better whiskeys I've had in 2025.
It's nice. I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, it's a 13-year-old whiskey. Like, there's not many that are putting out 13-year whiskeys. Got to think about that too. And it's a little bit older than that because you've got, the 19. Now we can't say that on the label, but it is exciting that they have some older stocks that they are pulling out. And it's got to be for the express purpose of a limited edition small batch, or
there might be something on the precipice.
Yeah, some kind of crazy release. So that was like a nice little Easter egg that he left.
Yeah, I mean, I think continue to pay attention to Four Roses. We also heard about like the additional recipes they're laying down earlier this year, new yeast strains. So who knows what comes of that? But I think it will be, an enjoyable experience. So the question is, like I asked you last episode, would you buy it?
My cheap ass. I'm just kidding. Honestly, I think I'm going to go back out and look for some of those single barrels that they've been putting out. That's like my speed. It's 100 proof. And they're putting out 4 different mash bills right now, I think, and they're going to kind of expand the portfolio
each year.
So it's like, honestly, maybe I've been overlooking that a little bit.
Again, 100 proof bourbon. Can't beat it.
It's my style.
Well, let us know if you've gotten lucky enough to try this Four Roses limited edition small batch bourbon, because We'd love to hear. If you are not following or subscribed to the Bourbon Lens or liking this video, make sure you do. We would really appreciate it as it grows our YouTube following. And as always, we appreciate you listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks.